Hey guys, welcome to my channel Live Audience Reactions, and this is the list of my personal favorite movies that came out in 2017. So before starting with the list, I would like to clarify that I haven't seen a lot of movies that came out this year. For example, I haven't seen Get Out, Shape of Water, Disaster Artist, etc. I couldn't watch these movies because they did not have a release date in my country. I live in India and not a lot of movies get released in India. The number 10 spot on my list goes to Spiderman Homecoming. I think Spiderman Homecoming is a perfect popcorn flick. You can watch this movie with your friends, you can watch this movie with your date, you can watch this movie with your family, and I am 100% sure that you will have a great time with this movie. The only reason why this movie isn't ahead in the list is because it's too plain and it's too simple and it's too light-hearted. There is no risk involved in this movie. It's just a bloody good time at the movies, and this definitely deserves to be the number 10 spot in my list. On the number 9 spot, we have The Big Sick. The Big Sick stars Kumail Nanjiani and Zoe Kazan, and it's a story of an interracial couple that are dealing with cultural differences in their families when one of them gets sick. And I thought this movie is the best romantic movie of 2017. It was sweet, it was funny, and it was heartbreaking. And I think you should definitely check this movie out if you haven't already. Okay, so let's move on to the number 8 spot, and the number 8 spot goes to Blade Runner 2049. I think this movie outshines the first movie in every way. This is the best sequel to come out in years, and I think Denis Villeneuve does a fantastic job with this movie. If you are into the Blade Runner universe and if you like the first one, then it's a crime to skip out on this one, and I think you should definitely check this one out, and it gets the 8th spot on my list. Number 7 is a tie between Baby Driver and Stephen King's It. So let's start with Baby Driver first. Baby Driver is directed by Edgar Wright, and Edgar Wright is one of the coolest directors working today in the industry, and Baby Driver shows that. It's definitely the coolest movie to come out in 2017. It was so cool, the soundtrack, the acting, the romance, it was amazing, and John Hamm gives his best performance in this movie, and I think you should definitely check this one out. Another movie that's tied up with Baby Driver for the 7th spot is Stephen King's It. Now, to be honest, I wasn't really expecting much from this movie. I thought this was going to be a disaster. I am not a huge fan of reboots, and I thought this was just going to be another cash grab attempt by Warner Brothers. But I was genuinely surprised. It was really, really good. For once, the kids in the movie did not annoy me. That was a huge surprise for me because generally every kid in almost every single movie annoyed the shit out of me, and I'm really glad that I checked this movie out, and you should too. On the number 6 spot, we have Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now, Star Wars: The Last Jedi is the most polarizing movie of 2017. Critics love this movie. On the other hand, fans absolutely hate this movie. But I am not a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't think Episode 7 was that of a great movie. It was a good time for me, but this movie changed the game for me. This movie made me a Star Wars fan. This movie was so ballsy. It took so many risks, and most of those risks paid off for me. Rian Johnson did a fantastic job with this movie, and this rightly deserves to be on the 6th spot on my list. The 5th spot on my list goes to War for the Planet of the Apes. The best word to describe this movie would be perfect. I couldn't find a single flaw with this movie. Everything about this movie was flawless. The characters, the tension, the intensity, everything was flawless, and this movie concludes the trilogy in a fantastic way, and I would highly recommend that you check this movie out. The number 4 spot on my list goes to Okja. I never thought a CGI pig would make me cry so much. This was the most emotional movie of 2017, and Jake Gyllenhaal gives his best performance since Nightcrawler. This is a great movie. It wasn't out on theaters, but you should definitely check this movie out on Netflix. It's still out there. It's amazing. I know I say this word a lot in this video, but yeah, still I don't care. It's amazing. Number 3 on my list goes to Newton. Newton is an Indian movie and it's the best Indian movie that came out in 2017. I know a lot of you guys are not into Indian movies, but I highly recommend that you check this movie out, and I am sure that you will be interested in Indian movies after you see this movie. It's a gem of a movie and it was also considered for Oscars. I know it did not, win, but it's definitely a must watch for me. You should definitely watch this movie. The number 2 spot on my list goes to Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. Now, Christopher Nolan is my personal favorite director, and although Dunkirk is not his best movie, but it's an amazing movie. It's still a great movie, and it's definitely one of the best movies of 2017. If you haven't seen this movie on the biggest screen possible, if you haven't seen this movie on IMAX, then my friend, you made a huge mistake. This was one of the best cinematic experiences of 2017, and you missed out if you haven't seen it in IMAX. Finally, the number 1 movie of 2017 is Logan. The only word to describe this movie would be masterpiece. This movie is an out and out masterpiece, and I am so happy for Hugh Jackman. This is his swan song. This is the Wolverine movie that we all deserved for so many years, and this is the Wolverine movie that we get. This movie exceeded my expectations in every way, and I can proudly call this movie the best movie of 2017. Anyways guys, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel for more reactions and more videos like this. And if you have your list, if you have your top 10 movies, then please comment it down in the comment section below. I hope you enjoy this video. Take care.